Hello everyone and welcome to Azam Sharp channel, and we will be continuing working on our reminders clone application using SwiftData and SwiftUI. So if you haven't really watched the previous two episodes or lectures, I highly recommend that you do that. So in this particular lecture, what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to attach an actual reminder to the list. Now, these are just a list, right? A list has a name and a color code. A list can be groceries, a list can be entertainment, maybe your vacation. But what are the different reminders or items inside the list? In groceries, you can have, oh, I need to buy milk, I need to buy coffee, I need to buy bread. So that is what we'll be working on. So the first thing I will do is I will start by creating reminder model. So let's go ahead and add a reminder model. There we go. Great. Now the reminder model can have a couple of different things. We will have a title. So let's first import SwiftData, and I'm going to create a reminder model. Since this model will be persisted to the actual database, make sure that you use the model macro. And the model macro can only be applied to the classes. So if you make it a struct, it's not going to work. Now the reminder can have a title. And this is the actual title, like, hey, remind me to pick up a bread or buy a coffee or something like that. But just like the other app, like the actual reminder app from Apple, you can also have like notes attached to it. But not every single reminder will have notes, so we have to make it optional. There's a lot of things that can be optional in these cases. Is completed? Is the reminder completed? We're going to say Boolean. Now, there is a reminder date also, but again, you don't really have to attach a reminder date, so you can simply say, date can be null. You can say reminder time also, reminder time. There we go. And this reminder will belong to something, right? It will belong to a list. So we can say, go over here and say list. You might be wondering, why do we need reminder date and time separate? I'm keeping it separate right now. We'll see in the future that if we need it to be combined to be just reminder date, but right now I'm just creating it as a separate. And then obviously we have a belongs to relationship. Reminder belongs to a list. So this is a belongs to relationship going back to the list that it belongs to. Next, we will need to create some sort of an initializer. So there's our initializer. It takes in a string title, notes, default value is nil, is completed. So everything else looks pretty good. So we have all of these things over here. Now, reminder is fine, and reminder does have this relationship belongs to going back to the my list. But if you go to the my list doesn't really know anything about reminders. So we will have to create a many relationship, one-to-many relationship. So I'll say that my list or a list can have an array of reminders. And initially we'll start with an empty array, and I can go ahead and add a relationship. So that is the relationship macro. And what behind the scene, it sets up the relationship. It treats the relationship like when you're creating SQL queries, it adds those constraints, foreign key constraints. So I'm going to go ahead and say delete rule, cascade. So what does this delete rule means over here? Well, delete rule basically means that if I delete my list, if I delete any list, then all the reminders associated with that list will also be deleted, will also be removed. And that's perfectly fine in this case, right? Because if I am keeping a list like, say, groceries, and I have 30 different groceries over there, if I just create or delete the list, I don't really need to keep all those to-do items that I want to do with the groceries, because I don't have that list anymore. It's gone. So that's why we're doing delete rule with cascade. Let's go back to the my list screen. Let's see what it displays. Keeping in mind that the my list screen is currently using, for the previews, we are using the preview container. So it is going to display some dummy data, which is perfectly fine in our case. Now, one thing that you will note is that I can't really navigate. Like if I click on backlog over here or reminders, I can't really go to the other screen. And the reason is, well, in this case, I will have to use a navigation link. All right. So let's go ahead and see that how we can take the reminders when you click on it, tap on it, to a different screen. But what should we call that screen? Well, that will be called My List Details screen. So let's go ahead and add another screen. And I think that's one of the benefits of creating screens is screen is kind of like a larger unit that can contain nested views. And the main purpose of screen is not reusability, but to structure your views. So let's go ahead and add another one. And I'm going to say My List Screen. Okay. No, not My List Screen. My List Detail Screen. Okay, that's the detail screen. Detail, because when you click on a list, then you land on this screen. Let's go back to our My List screen. And you can see the for loop over here, this part, I guess. And in this for loop, we have this image for a horizontal circle.fill as well as the title over here. And this is where we want to do our navigation. So I'm going to go ahead and add a navigation link over here. Destination, well, destination will be My List Detail Screen. And label. Label means that what will be printed on the screen. So, or what will be displayed on the screen. So the X stack will be displayed on the screen. There we go. And as soon as I do that, you can see these things appear, arrow pointing. I think these are called like accessory or something, or detail indicator. And now I can go back to the screen. I can go back and forth. Great. Now, if I go to the My Details screen, I need to be sending the selected list. So let's go ahead and say My List, which is just a placeholder over here, just the name of the argument, and we're going to be passing in the My List. So let's go back to the My List Details screen, and we will make sure that we are able to pass in the list. So I'll say let My List, My List. Now, as soon as I do that, the My List Details screen preview starts complaining. It's like, hey, well, you got to pass in My List. And the way that you pass in My List is by creating a container view. So I'm going to go ahead and say My List Detail Screen Container. Again, this particular container view is only created to render the preview. It's not really going to be used anywhere else. So let's go ahead and say body, My List Detail Screen, and we can say My List of 0. So what is this My List over here? Well, that will be coming from the query. There we go. And in the preview, instead of showing the My List Detail screen, we will simply say My List Container. So detail screen. Oh, I think I named it incorrectly. Should be detail, not detail. There we go. And we will also go ahead and inject the model container over here, which will be preview container. Preview container. Now, preview container is not really accessible inside over here because the preview container is marked with main actor. So in order to successfully access it, we have to create or use the main actor closure over here, and then we can, or main actor macro over here, and then we can access it. Okay. Let's go ahead and also add import SwiftData because we are using query. And there we go. So now it's all happy. We will also go ahead and wrap this with a navigation stack, because if we wrap this with a navigation stack, we get the navigation bar, and we actually need the navigation bar so that we can display the title. So I can say navigation, title, my list dot name. And there we go. It's reminders. Now, keep in mind that when query is fetching the information, and this is just for the previews, then it's not really going to fetch using any kind of a order. I mean, I guess you can provide an order or a sort order over here. I mean, I don't really care about the sort order. So sometimes on the my list of 0, it will be reminders, but sometimes if I refresh it enough, it will be backlog. All right, so it's basically, in other words, it's random. Okay, so this looks pretty good. We're going to the My Details screen. Now, on the details screen, we should be able to display the My List name, which we are doing, backlog. We should be able to list all the reminders. Okay, and when we are displaying the reminder, we should also be able to add reminders. But before we do that, let's go ahead and first thank the sponsor for this video. I hope that you're enjoying this video series on building reminders app with SwiftData. And if you like my videos and want to check out my other courses, then you can go to azamsharp.school. And this is one of the largest catalogs for iOS development videos. If you go and check out for courses over here, I have 22 plus courses, 130 plus hours of video. And you can see all of these courses over here. MVVM in SwiftUI, Core Data Bootcamp, Full Stack iOS Development, MV Design Pattern. I'm always working on some new courses which will be available soon. But you can see there's a lot of courses that are available. All right. Reality Kit Fundamentals. And when you're there, go ahead and try out some of my courses for free. This one, SwiftUI Fundamentals, beginner-friendly course. You're going to love this course. And if you want to check out some other courses, you can. Now, the best way, what most people do end up, is they become a pro member. So if I scroll up over here, you can see pro member. You get monthly subscription, 22 comprehensive courses. So get all the courses. But along with the courses, you get 50% on workshops, 50% off on the workshops. And these workshops are live workshops on Zoom, on unit testing, on Vapor, on SwiftData, on architecture, Reality Kit. I mean, these are like 3-hour workshops, very hands-on, very practical. And you also get monthly Q&A. So all the pro members, and says only for the pro members, they come and they attend a monthly Q&A. We talk about stuff. We try to fix other problems. It's a lot of fun. So this is for pro members. Pro members only $25 a month, or you can pay yearly. All right. So hope you will enjoy azamsharp.school. This is quality courses, and I always keep on adding new courses. You can check out these reviews. Thank you so much. And now let's get back to the video. All right, let's go ahead and continue. So the first thing we need to do is we need to allow the user to add a new reminder, right? So I'm going to go ahead and replace a VStack in the My List Details screen with or the text with a VStack. And the reason is that I can now go ahead and create more controls over here. Well, let's start with displaying the reminders. I mean, even though we don't really have any reminders, but we can try to display it. So I'm going to say my list dot reminders. Now, there are multiple ways of getting the reminders. You can see that I'm directly accessing my list dot reminders. And in some situations, this will be perfectly fine. And let's go ahead and say reminder also. All right. Now, there will be some other situation that it may not work. All right. Like if the reminders internal property got changed and you need to refresh this view, then it may not reflect those things. But when we reach that point, then we will look at a different way of doing things. All right. But right now we haven't really reached that point. It's not really giving us any problem, or it won't give us any problems right now. But if it will, we will look for a different solution. So I'm going to say text over here, reminder dot title. So it's just displaying the title. Now, I don't really have any reminders, so it's not going to display anything anyways, right? So what can we do? Well, just like for the My List screen, we created some fake list, dummy list, so that we can work with. We can go to the My List Details screen, and My List Details screen is also using the preview container. So maybe the preview container can be responsible for creating a couple of reminders. So let's go to the preview container. Over here we have My List. So just like My List, maybe I can go ahead and create, reminders. There we go. Now over here, the reminders, you can see that is missing is completed. Let's go back to the reminder. And over here, you can see the Boolean value. I wonder if I can just say Boolean value is completed false. And let's go back, go ahead and build it. Okay. I mean, when you create a reminder, it will be false anyways. I mean, because you just created the reminder, it's not completed. The next thing we want to do is after we insert on line number 18 our mylist to the database, the in-memory database, then we can say mylist dot reminders equals to sample data dot reminders. All right. So this means that both of our lists, one is for the budget, one is for the reminders, will have these additional reminders. If you want to change the list or change this to groceries, I mean, we can do that. There we go. Okay. Now let's go back to our My List Details screen, and hopefully it will be able to display some reminders, like reminder 1 and reminder 2 maybe. There we go, reminder 1 and 2. Great. So we got some dummy data being displayed over here. Awesome, right? The next task is, well, how do we allow the user to add a new reminder? I'm going to put a spacer and then put a button. Now in the button, I'm going to say new reminder. All right. So you can see at the bottom, we have the button. And if I want to change the button, meaning like maybe move the button, I can just go and do it in many different ways. I can just put a maximum width of infinity, and then I can give some sort of alignment leading. I will probably also add like a little bit of a padding to it. Okay, that looks pretty decent. And with the button, I can also add some sort of an image. But if I'm trying to put an image over here, like right here on the left, I would probably wrap this with an etch stack. There we go. And now I should be able to put an image. Okay, now it actually really looks nice. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, when you click on this button, which is new reminder, we will use an alert and ask the user to enter the title for that particular reminder. All right. So the title should be captured somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and create a state variable var, and we'll just say title. I mean, you can call it reminder title if that if that is more descriptive for you, but title is also fine right now. And we will go back to our navigation title, well, on the VStack, and we'll say alert. And we have different actions over here that we can take, right? Title key, we have like it's presented, actions, and all those different things. So let's go ahead and give it a title. I'll say new reminder is presented. So, well, I guess we have to make sure that it is presented, right? So we will use that another state variable, private var is open add reminder, or maybe not say open, is new reminder presented. Okay, new reminder presented. I mean, you can come up with a better name, I guess. Is new reminder presented, or new reminder alert presented. I mean, it's up to you, whatever you want to name. Naming is hard, right? And there we go. And what actions are we going to take over here? Well, we need a text field, so that's the first thing. So let's add a text field. And we will add like a button for the cancel. That will be just a cancel button. And you can add a cancel button just by attaching a roll cancel to it. And then we can also add like a done button. So done. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and, well, we have to still implement the action. So I'll say is new reminder presented equals to true. And if I click on it, okay, that looks good. Cancel. And what about done? Okay. Looks like it's working fine, but we still need to add the reminder, right? Now, in order to add the reminder, we need to check that the person, the user, is entering something in the text box. So we need to do that validation. So I can go over here. I can say private var is form valid, Boolean, all right? And title if it is not empty. Now, even though this will work in some situations, but what we also want is that a user should not be able to put any empty space like space bar or, if they're putting tab, and this is not really going to check for that. So what we can do is add another extension on the string. So I'm going to say string plus extensions. And for the string extension, I am just going to implement an additional property called is empty or white space. So it's going to simply go ahead and trim all the white spaces and new lines, and then it's going to check that if it's empty or not. So now we can go back over here. Instead of using is empty, we can probably use is empty in white space. That's much better. Now this done button should only be enabled when it's activated, right? So is form valid? So if it's disabled when a form is not valid. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so you can see done button is disabled. And if I type something over here, let's say a new reminder can be reminder 4. Okay, so you can see it kind of goes, it becomes active. Reminder 12. Okay, perfect. And over here in the done button, we can call save reminder. Now, what is save reminder? Well, that's just a private function that we're going to make. Save reminder. All right. And how exactly are we trying to save the reminder? Well, the first thing is that we need to create the reminder. So reminder equals to reminder. We can simply pass in the title of the reminder. And then we already have the list. We already have the reminder in there. We just append it. Reminder. Now the list will change in this case, right? And when the list will change, because we're adding a reminder, this, which is dependent on that particular list, my list of reminders, it's going to refresh. So if I'm going to say over here, new reminder, and I'm going to say reminder is buy milk, done. Oops, nothing going on right now. Okay, what did we do wrong now? All right, what did we do wrong? Reminders, I think we're calling save function, right? So we are calling save function, but it didn't like it. It wasn't able to do anything. Interesting. So let's go ahead and see what exactly is going on in our code. All right, so I debugged the problem and found it to be very strange. Maybe I'm doing something wrong over here, but whenever I have this disabled if form valid, it just doesn't call save reminder, which is really weird. Maybe it's a bug in SwiftUI because it doesn't really make any sense. If I click on new reminder, right, you can see that it is disabled right now. But as soon as I type something over here, let's say reminder 12, I mean, it's enabled because we are entering some title over here. But when I say done, it does not fire save reminder at all. So let's not use this for some reason. I mean, I don't know why it's not getting called. And I'm going to say is form valid, only then call save reminder. So we're just going to move the is form valid check inside the button click. So now we will not really have that effect of, disabling, which I really wanted, but now it's not working. But anyway, hopefully this will solve our problem. Let's go ahead and say reminder. I'll say reminder 12, done. And there we go, reminder 12. Awesome, right? So you can see that now it is working. That was more of a glitch or some sort of an issue going on. And the same issue persists if you are running it on, on a real device or on a simulator also. So maybe it's a bug, I'm not sure. But there we go. So we're able to add the reminders. Let's go ahead and run the application and try to use a real simulator over here. Okay, so I'm going to go to groceries, add a new reminder, and I'll say maybe I need to pick up milk. Okay, for some reason I had these debugging stuff going on, but there we go. We got the milk over here. Let's go ahead and say, what am I? Bread. Okay, so it looks like it's working correctly. If I go back and I go to reminders, there's nothing. If I go to groceries, I can see these two things. Great. So it looks like it is working correctly. And here we go. We were able to add a reminder to our list. And in the next video, we're just going to move forward. We're going to implement more things related to our reminder clone app using SwiftUI and SwiftData. Meanwhile, I highly recommend that you check out azamsharp.school. And if you scroll down really at the bottom, you can also subscribe to the newsletter. And this is where you can get like deals. Like sometime I will share some coupons for the free courses or free live stream that I'm doing and other discount stuff, articles, videos, stuff like that. So definitely check out or subscribe to the newsletter and check out all the courses, become a pro member. Thank you so much and hope you have enjoyed this video.